everybody, it's time for another cooking video. Today we're gonna smoke some ribs, which is one of my favorite things, some baby back ribs. I don't have my wife here to film me, so bear with me. I'm trying to film this all myself. We're not professional yet with all the fun camera stuff, so just bear with me. I'm watching the football game. I'm here alone today. My wife and daughter are out shopping. And I'm gonna get the ribs going because we're gonna have them for dinner. So you have to get them going a little earlier in the day. They take about 5 to 6 hours to cook, just depending. So we're gonna get started here with the ribs, and I'll show you the first couple steps. All right, make sure you clean your hands, which I wash in between takes here. But first step, take some paper towels and just kind of dab all that liquid off on both sides. So we're on the bottom side here. We're gonna flip it over here, and we're gonna get the other side. Just dab it off so it's nice and dry. And then we'll go to our next step, which is removing the membrane, which can be a little bit tricky, but I'll show you how I do it. Okay, we'll be right back with you. Okay, folks, so we're taking the membrane off the bottom side of these ribs here. So I like to start on the smaller side here where it kind of narrows out. As you can see, it kind of widens out. And you get like a butter knife or some kind of knife underneath. You can see, it's hard to do this with one hand, but you can see the membrane here. You're gonna wanna get underneath that, get a little bit going here, and then you're gonna grab a paper towel to give you some grip and tear it off. So I've got under here. Let me change the camera angle and I'll be right back with you peeling this off. But you can see it kind of coming off just by pushing it with the knife. Okay, folks, now if you get lucky, it'll come off in one piece. I'm doing this one-handed here. As you can see, the membrane's coming off nice. It's a lot easier with two hands for sure, because you can kind of hold it. But you can see it just peels off, and you just take this all the way down to the end. So let me finish it off with my other hand, and I'll be right back with you for the seasoning. All right, folks, next up, we're gonna do our yellow mustard. We're gonna rub some yellow mustard on this, and this is just acting as a binder. You're not gonna taste this. I'm gonna do the bottom here, and then we'll flip it over once we season the other side and do the top. So just about that much. And I'm wearing a glove this time because it does get you don't want it to get all over your hand too much with the mustard. You just kind of massage it in here, get it nice and coated. And like I said, it's not gonna really add any flavor or anything like that. You're not gonna taste mustard when the ribs cook. It just helps your seasoning stick. All right, I'll be right back with you when we start seasoning. All right, so we're looking at some of the seasonings I like to use. I use sort of different seasonings, whatever I've got in my pantry. There are a lot of great seasonings out there, so use your favorite. I do like to start with my favorite salt, pepper, garlic blend here from Kinder's. And I kind of put like a base layer down, and then you could finish with Pappy's. It's got a little bit of sugar in it. Today I'm gonna use this Louisiana Cajun seasoning. So let's start with our little base coat here of the Kinder's salt, pepper, garlic. We're just gonna put a nice layer down here, not too thick. This just adds like some nice savory notes here. So this is gonna kind of be our first step. And then we'll finish with our Cajun seasoning, and we'll get this all coated up, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. I like to give it a nice, this gives it some nice color and some nice flavor. So just some nice Cajun seasoning on there. All right, I'll be back with you shortly here. Okay, so I finished with just a light coat of the Pappy's after the Cajun seasoning, just to give it like a couple like hints of that peppery flavor. And you just kind of pat it in, and you don't have to do too much with it. We got a nice coating on there now. Now we're gonna let this kind of soak the seasonings in for maybe about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes max, while we get our smoker going. So we're gonna go outside, we're gonna get our smoker turned on to 225 degrees. All right, I'll be right back with you. Okay, folks, I just wanna show you how the ribs have drank in all that salt, and you can see it's got like a glistening sort of a glazed look to it. So that's the salt forcing the moisture out of the meat there once it kind of soaks it in as it sits. So it's been about 20 minutes, and this is what you want to see. This means it's pretty much ready to go on. It's tempered. We've had it out of the fridge for about 30 minutes now in total. So that's a beautiful rack of ribs there, and it's gonna be delicious once we're all done. So we're gonna go out to the smoker here in a minute, and I'll show you the next step. All right, folks, we're outside at the smoker here. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. So we're gonna take these ribs, we're gonna put them bone side down, meat side up, right here on the smoker. Make sure they're nice and straight. And you can see they're ready to go now. We're at 225, as I said before. and I'm using like a competition blend, but you know, you could use apple, cherry, whatever your favorite pellets are. So I've just got a pellet smoker here. It's a Camp Chef. All right, we're gonna put this down because looking ain't cooking. We're gonna make sure it smokes for at least an hour before we check on it, maybe even an hour and a half. And I'll be back with you when we check on it. All right. All right, folks, it's been about an hour and a half. We're gonna check on our ribs. Oh, they're looking good. Let me get close so you can take a look at it. Now, usually I do a spritz here, but I could not find my spritzer, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of apple cider vinegar, put a little bit on this brush, and just kind of, I'm not gonna paint it on necessarily, I'm just gonna drip it on there. Give a little bit of liquid. This isn't the ideal way to do it, but we're just gonna put a little bit on there to rehydrate the outside of the meat. We don't wanna ruin our bark too much, or a nice crust that's gonna develop on here. And I'm gonna do a few more rounds of this here and then put the lid back down for another hour, and we'll come back out and check it. All right, we've been cooking for about 3 hours here. Let's take a look. We're getting some nice color. It's looking real good. Let's test with our thermometer here. Let's just see kind of tenderness. I'm not necessarily checking for temp, more for the tenderness in between. It's feeling real good. Just to let you know, we're about 180. We want to be like around, you know, 200 or so, and we're about 180, 187 there. So we're getting there. We're gonna keep going a little bit. I'm gonna give it another little spritz with the apple cider vinegar and keep going. We'll be back with you on the next checkup here, probably, I don't know, about another 45 minutes to an hour. All right, folks, it's been a little over 4 hours. Let's check our ribs. Sorry, we got a little shadow here. They look beautiful. Let's check our tenderness here. In between. Those are just about there. And just to let you know, we're about 190, close to 190 in the middle there. 192 there. So we're gonna give it about 20 more minutes, maybe 30 more minutes, and then we're gonna put some sauce on it. All right, I'll be back with you. All right, folks, it's been, just under 5 hours now. So I'm gonna add a little bit of sauce. I like to use Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, and we just kind of squirt it on there and then spread it out. And then we're gonna put the smoke back on it for maybe another 20 or 30 minutes, let it get nice and caramelized, and we should be done. You can tell that's done when you start poking it and it's tender in the middle. It's right around 200 degrees right in the middle, but the bones start kind of showing a little bit. See how the meat pulls off the bones a little bit? That's a good sign, an indicator there too. So you're not cooking here for time, you're cooking for temperature and feel. And let's just put some of this barbecue sauce on here now. And you'll see it'll be nice and caramelized when we're done. So I'm gonna get a brush and we're gonna paint this on here. Get it nice and coated. All right, folks, and I'll be back with you when we're done. We're ready to take them off. All right, so I got the ribs off the smoker. As you can see, that barbecue sauce caramelized beautifully, a nice mahogany red color. Those look delicious. We're gonna let them rest for about 15, 20 minutes. We're gonna tent this with foil. We don't wanna wrap it, just loosely tent the foil over it while it sits and rests and lets those juices redistribute. But this is a key step. You don't wanna cut into it right away. All the juices will run out. Let the juices redistribute, tent it with foil, give it about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll be back with you when we cut into this bad boy. All right, it's time to try these ribs. We've been cooking them all day, slow and low. Let's see, you've seen them, they look delicious. They've been resting for about 15 to 20 minutes here. They just feel so tender, fall off the bone, just feeling them. Now let's cut in the middle here. Sometimes it's actually easier if you flip them over. You can follow the line a little bit easier to cut it. See, for me, a good rib doesn't completely disintegrate. You want it to hold a little bit. But as you can see, you got that nice smoke ring in there, that pink. And I mean, look, it just comes right off the bone, the whole thing. It is so good. Make these at home. If you don't have a smoker, you can do the exact same thing in the oven. It's so delicious. I love ribs. It's one of my favorites. And let me tell you, always have a glass of red wine. Cheers. Thanks for following me on this video here. Please like and subscribe for more videos. We're going to post all my favorite recipes up over time here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping us get this channel going.